At the very first, let me thank you formally for inviting me to this concluding session of the International Training Workshop on achieving sustainable development goals, financial inclusion, and rural transformation. I would really like to convey my heartfelt thanks and good wishes to the distinguished delegates representing about 25 countries of AARDO member countries on my own behalf and on behalf of the people and government of Bangladesh. I think the electricity is off right at the moment, so please bear with me if you don't see me so bright, you know, take it easy. Dear participants, friends, and colleagues, I am happy to see you again. I was one of the keynote speakers, and I covered on the financial inclusion. Today, probably I will not focus so much on that issue because I have covered a lot. I'll be speaking mostly on the other two issues, sustainable development and rural transformation. I'm sure you have enjoyed the journey through the fascinating knowledge landscape which we created together. As I heard from some of the participants, it seems the seminar was very useful. The workshop was pretty interesting, and the participation of a diverse group like yours in this knowledge-based conversation must have been both exciting and rewarding, as other participants and the speakers have already alluded to. This training workshop, which has been organized by BARD with the support of AARDO, has been a virtual platform, and I'm sure this new normal knowledge management must have been very innovative and useful for all of us. We really have learned from each other on the issues related to sustainable development, and I must thank the organizers for making me a participant in different capacities in this interesting journey. I participated earlier as well in this workshop, in fact, last year, I think, and pleased to see that this is becoming an excellent demonstration of South-South cooperation. Given the size of our population in all the countries that you are representing here, agriculture and rural development remain key to our national development, key to our national development for several reasons. Firstly, agriculture provides employment to most of our rural population. Secondly, agriculture continues to provide raw materials to our industries in addition to food to the urban population. Thirdly, the rural population with rising income are also the source of demand for the industrial products. The consumption, which mostly originates in the rural areas, provides more than 60% of the growth of our economies, as there is now closer connect between rural and urban areas. In Bangladesh, the consumption alone really contributes to about more than 62% of our growth, and that Bangladesh has been doing so well because of the financial inclusion and the vibrant rural economy that we have been really trying to develop over decades. I'm sure this is also true for many other countries. I'm for sure Thailand is benefiting a lot on the riding on the rural development and agriculture. In fact, urban agriculture in Thailand is also very, very in a significant. No doubt, our southern countries have been doing far better than the northern ones in responding to the challenges of the ongoing pandemic. The rural areas have become the sources of employment for many of the returned migrants who were involved in the non-formal sector in the urban areas. They went back to the rural areas. And in Bangladesh, more than 12% of the employment increased in the rural areas and absorbed some of these urban workers or entrepreneurs, who were working on the non-formal sector. Even the returned migrants from abroad found refuge in the rural areas in the difficult days of pandemic, thanks to the government for creating a number of stimulus packages for them as well, in addition to the focused stimulus package for the agriculture, particularly farmers and SMEs. Moreover, given the strategic importance of non-farming income in rural areas that now account for more than half of the total rural income, in fact, about 60% in Bangladesh, the rural income is so diverse now and modern that we need to think afresh how to strategize rural development in the context of overall drive for sustainable development. In fact, the rural Bangladesh or many of the rural countries, AARDO countries, must have been going through this multi-speed transformation, and most of these countries are witnessing fast modernization of the rural economy. Dear delegates from different regions of the world, as you know that in the context of ever-changing globalization, Bangladesh, like most of the AARDO countries, has been encountering similar problems to achieve the sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goals have been really developed after a huge consultation. I remember I was a party to this consultation, both in the international forum and also in the local forum as a member of the government delegate. So we know how difficult it was to really capture all the aspirations of the disadvantaged and the excluded in terms of sustainable development goals. And the main spirit of leaving no one behind has been well captured in the sustainable development goals. And as you can see, it's not very easy to take all of them together. Rabindranath Tagore, a poet, but I think he's more of a social scientist, he said in one of his poems that, পশ্চাতে রাখিছো যারে সে তোমায় পশ্চাতে টানিবে. If you push him down, he will pull you down. So I think we need to take them all together and move forward, and that's the heart of the SDG spirit. And in congruence with SDGs, Bangladesh has been thinking aloud of becoming a developed country by 2041 with a per capita income of at least 12,500 US dollars at today's value. For that matter, it has designed a perspective plan leading to 2041. I'm sure our participants are aware of that. I'm sure some speakers must have talked about this perspective plan. This is our second perspective plan. The first one was 2010 to 21. Now we have the second one with significant emphasis on agricultural development. A paradigm shift in agriculture is already visible in the context of change in the composition of demand for diverse food basket with improved nutritional intake. I'm sure this is also true for other countries. No doubt, agriculture now looks beyond cereal production to non-cereal value-added crops, in addition to greater focus on livestock, poultry, and fisheries. And BARD is the I would say the mecca of rural development and for modernizing agriculture in terms of all the subsectors that I'm talking about. Bangladesh has been benefiting from this good. Cereal production is around 4%, but if you add this subsector, the livestock, poultry, fisheries, horticulture, together, Bangladesh agriculture has been growing more than 5.5%. In all these agricultural production processes, developing resilience to climate change has become an urgent imperative, as the CDAP director was alluding to. Coping with growing uncertainty and developing climate-friendly response for greater adaptation and innovation in the new agricultural development, in the new context of climate change, is becoming the cornerstone of the new agricultural development policy for most of the AARDO countries, including Bangladesh. Going forward, we must redesign our priorities for the future sustainable agriculture, which must include strengthening of local adaptive capacity. For that to happen, there is an imperative for providing public goods and services, including better climate information, innovative research for development of heat and cold tolerant, salinity tolerant crop varieties, and climate smart production technologies, efficient water saving, irrigation practices, and early weather forecasting. So we will have to commit more of our resources for good agricultural practices like conservation of agriculture, integrated plant nutrition system, integrated pest management, and solar irrigation pumps, and various other innovative options. We also need to develop sustainable local, regional, and international supply chains for supporting export of agricultural products. You will be happy to know Bangladesh has already been exporting more than $1 billion in agricultural products, and we aspire to cross 2 billion pretty soon, as the other day the agriculture minister was talking. We also need to develop sustainable local, regional, and international supply chains for supporting export of the agriculture products. The mechanization and commercialization of agriculture are therefore becoming orders of the day. Fortunately, Bangladesh, under the first-sighted leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, has been responding to these calls of resilience and prosperity by preparing Bangladesh Delta Plan 2100 and of late Mujib Climate Prosperity Plan. I'm sure many of the other countries' policymakers must have been reorienting their development strategies in the new context. If you really want to go in these directions, as I'm pointing to, we also need at this hour the sustainable finance policy in place. And fortunately, Bangladesh Bank, the Central Bank of Bangladesh, which has been pursuing green policies for quite some times, and inclusive finance, has put in place a sustainable finance policy. You can see it in the website, and we are really working on creating more green products, both at the SME level and at the larger levels. And Bangladesh Bank has already created Green Transformation Fund to transform many of the industrial units to go green. And of course, the support for green agriculture is always there. You will be happy to know that Bangladesh is on its highway of development towards prosperity, riding on the strategic leadership of our Prime Minister, a champion of the earth, who has also been awarded by the UN the Sustainable Progress Award recently. And Jeffrey Sachs, the director of the Earth Institute of Columbian University and the advisor to the Secretary General of UN, said that she is the crowning jewel of the day. So she has been our great brand ambassador in pushing Bangladesh towards green destination. Dear friends and colleagues, I would like to bring to your notice that Bangladesh has been recovering pretty fast from the economic slowdown created by the pandemic. ADB forecasts 6.8% growth in this fiscal year. World Bank forecast 6.4%, and IMF yesterday has forecasted that Bangladesh will be growing around 6.5% this fiscal. And the Standard Chartered Bank, in a recent forecast, said that Bangladesh will be growing at 7.2% at the end of the current fiscal year, which is as good as the projection done by the government of Bangladesh. It may be noted here that Bangladesh's nominal per capita income has been growing at the fastest rate during the last 7 years, including 7.8% over the last 2 years among the emerging economies of Asia, riding on the triple pillars of consistent growth in agriculture, foreign remittance, export, providing sustainable consumption for many, not a few. Bangladesh is followed by China and India. Despite such a spectacular growth story, Bangladesh still needs to remain focused on inclusive development, including financial inclusion, as I have elaborated in my keynote speech earlier on this issue, and quality execution of the infrastructural projects that are both growth and employment multipliers, because Bangladesh government has now been focusing on many mega projects, and I'm sure with the proper execution of these projects, there will be huge jump on the employment and growth rates in the country. To achieve these goals, we must continue to improve our institutions, including the ones that have been accelerating our agricultural growth and related non-farm sector, leading to faster reduction in poverty and rise in lifespan, which is now higher than our peers and neighbors. We are living almost 74 years here in Bangladesh, which is much higher than many of our South Asian neighbors. Thanks to the dynamic leadership of our Prime Minister, Bangladesh is poised to move out of the category of LDCs and compete in higher league of developing countries within a few years. What is more fascinating is that this graduation has been made possible riding on the inclusive and sustainable strategies of development. I feel privileged to have worked with the government and particularly with the Prime Minister for a substantial period as central bank governor to add value to these inclusive strategies spearheaded by the government, including financial inclusion and development of digital finance system. I also tried to make the central bank more developmental in its orientation to serve many and not a few. Through this international workshop, BARD has successfully shared all these success stories from various state and non-state financial institutions with the participant, so that the participating countries can take home these lessons learned from Bangladesh experience. I wish all of them could be here physically in Bangladesh and enjoy the hospitality of Bangladeshis. Bangladesh is well known for its food and cultural offerings, and I thought next time all of you are invited to come to Bangladesh and look at another Bangladesh, which was almost at the ashes level in 1972, an economy of only $8 billion around that time. That economy has now become $355 billion, and the Standard Chartered other day said by 26, this economy will be of the size of $500 billion. So you can see how a Bangladesh, under the dynamic and strong leadership of the father of the nation, and subsequently followed by his daughter, has come out of the ashes and leading to prosperity. Distinguished participants, I strongly believe that with the active and enthusiastic participation of the local and foreign participants, this workshop must have motivated the participants to work out realistic outcomes for SDGs and inclusive strategy for transformative change for millions of the participative AARDO countries. I'm sure you two have fascinating stories, and you must have shared with your counterparts here in this workshop. Let's continue and remain engaged and learn from the conversations that has been unleashed by this workshop. Ladies and gentlemen, let us hope that this workshop would be able to identify some of the future areas of international cooperation where AARDO countries can mutually and reciprocally benefit themselves for their socio-economic upliftment and transformation. I really want to thank Dr. Kushnut, today's guest of honor, who has been working from behind and coordinating this fantastic the virtual workshop that is being concluded. Dear participants, come foreign delegates at this stage, I would like to extend my heartiest thanks to important dignitaries for making this workshop a success. First of all, my heartfelt thanks to Director General BARD, Mr. Mohammad Shahjahan, for cordially inviting me to grace this concluding session as its chief guest. I'm also happy to convey my thanks to the special guest of the concluding session in this international workshop, Dr. Charles Virapat, the Director General CEDAW. You are also the guest to Bangladesh, and Your Excellency, I'm sure you are enjoying Bangladesh drive for inclusive development. I would like to thank the workshop director, Dr. Muhammad Mizanur Rahman, and his team, and workshop coordinator, Mr. Abdul Qadir, Director Training BARD, for giving me the opportunity to be one of the keynote speakers of this international workshop and shared my mind with the participants. Last but not the least, let me take the opportunity to extend my personal regards and warm cordial thanks to the participants of all the 25 Asian and African countries who are hearing me. Let me conclude this speech with the very best wishes to you all and conclude this workshop. Please remain safe and blessed. Thank you all for your kind attention. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu, and long live Bangladesh. Thank you all.